Alright, Japan's government bans censorship of anime and manga. Whoa, that sounds pretty base. What's going on?
At long last, I can be the bearer of good news instead of bad news. Like, oh my goodness, man, it's just... It's been too long. I'm always delivering bad news after bad news after bad news. But here we go. We actually got something I can talk about that, will bring people a smile. No interference in creative works. Japanese government proposes new policy for anime and game expansion in the West.
Based, finally. All those people that try to change shit in video games all the time based on their preconceived notion of what's acceptable in the West. Finally.
This is huge. This literally just came out today. This is literally breaking news. It was by the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry proposes new policy guidelines for the Japanese content and anime industry.
Don't consume it.
Very, very good news. So let's just get right into it. Let's just read this article. This October, the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry held its 8th Entertainment and Creative Industrial Policy Seminar, during which it proposed 5 key principles of its new policy guidelines for the Japanese content industry, including video games, anime, manga,
video games
film,
W,
and music. As reported by Otaku Soken, the new guidelines have been announced as part of the strategy to achieve the government's goal of expanding the overseas market size for domestic content to 20 trillion yen by 2033.
Huge.
This comes only a month after the Japanese Business Federation, Keidan Ren, issued an urgent message calling on the government to provide immediate, large-scale, and long-term support for the country's content industry. The 5 key principles of the entertainment and creative industries policy are listed as follows. Number 1, large-scale, long-term strategic support. Support efforts to spread Japan-made content to the world. No interference in the content of creative works.
Good.
That's the big one. Provide direct support. Prioritize those willing to take a challenge. In light of recent events, especially aggressive content restrictions and global pressure from payment processor firms,
That's a big one. Huge. Do you know how difficult it is to pay stuff with, like, your credit card or your card itself, your debit card, or even with PayPal to buy Japanese things now? They actually started banning stuff. I had to go to a new website. I forget what it was called, but yeah.
Principle of the policy has been attracting attention in particular.
As an adult, by the way.
As explained by METI, the government's goal is to invest in IPs, human resources, and digital technologies, as well as support international distribution networks and overseas investments into building fandoms. Consequently, the third principle was suggested to reassure creators that their freedom of expression will be protected and that government backings does not imply that the content of their work will be meddled with in any way.
They're actually pushing back against the collective shit Karens, man. Do you guys remember Collective Shout the Australians? Yeah. Let's fucking go.
Huge W. Like, just straight up huge Japan W. Like, big W right here. Big W for the Japanese government. Big W for anime creators, for manga creators, for artists in general in Japan. This is a huge W for freedom of expression, creativity within Japan. Because, obviously, when government starts to get involved with things, there's always this worry of, like, barriers to block you from doing certain things or stop you from being free or doing what you want. And the fact that the government is reassuring creators that just because it will be government backed does not mean we will interfere or stop you or meddle with your work is amazing. They legitimately want no...
Well, I think it's different when it's your own government backing you and not the US government or some sort of video game studio telling you what to do. It's their country. Sort it out with them if you don't like it. I'm all for people having, like, the right to tell their government to fuck off, but it shouldn't be other governments from other countries dictating exactly what you do or can't do.
Interference in the content of creative works. Basically, to not force anime and manga to censor itself to expand overseas. That is just... This is probably some of the best news we could have gotten as of late, especially for just what
the U.S. government thinks it is the government, though. Yes, and that's a huge problem. I have my own criticisms of like how imperialistic America is to this day in this day and age, but it's like imposing that on other countries is just like, bruh, like, what, are we serious right now?
Have seen continuously. We have definitely seen the uptick of just like this continuous rampant censorship on Japanese content. Everywhere. That's not including other areas around the world, obviously. There's a lot of other stuff I could speak about. But what I'm saying is we have definitely seen a lot of Japanese content get censored. And the fact that Japan is...
And mistranslated, and words being changed, and stories being changed for the sake of making it better, or what they would assume is better for Western audiences, instead of letting Western audiences consume it or reject it at their own pace, instead of changing things.
Obviously been aware of this for years now. It has been an ongoing issue that has been escalating over time, and I think it finally just escalated to a point to where it no longer could be ignored. You have Japanese officials in the government that were even elected, that one of their core principles and things they fight for is freedom of expression. And I am really happy to see that with the new leadership in charge, because there was recent elections in Japan, you can see that there is definitely some massive changes going on, that there is definitely a fight for creative expression and freedom within Japan, because it's big. I mean, I made a video like 2 days ago talking about how Japanese is like, entertainment industry is like its biggest moneymaker.
Yeah, they're a big portion of their GDP. I actually want to check what portion of Japan's GDP is entertainment. It's probably like 40% entertainment and like freaking 40% tourism. Tourism is massive. Entertainment, no, like specifically manga and anime. $25 billion. That doesn't give me a freaking number though. It's their biggest export. I'd have to find a list. I don't have it on hand. It gives me a number, but I'd want to see the other exports that it has.
Bigger than anything else from Japan. And so it makes sense that Japan would want to expand it even more to make more money as a country, but also to protect it for it doesn't get interfered with or distorted or destroyed by rivaling companies or countries or whatever. They don't want to see stuff like that happen. So this is just fantastic news. It's a big freaking W, hands down. There is literally no negatives about this whatsoever.
I wouldn't say that. I still think government having to be involved is not a massively like good thing, because governments can also change over time and policies can change. Not to get into like politics like themselves, but something could be created in the well intent of something from 25 years ago, and then things shift and things get reinterpreted or changed over time due to people changing, and also hands changing over with politicians. Also, I just looked it up. Japan's main exports is cars, $100 billion. Integrated circuits is $38.4 billion. So Japan's $25 billion estimated value from manga and anime is almost as big as their integrated circuits export, and bigger than motor and vehicles, like parts and accessories specifically. Like, that's huge. That's massive. It's not number one, but it's number 3.
But let's continue reading. Furthermore, Clause 4 of the policy proposal suggests that there will be more transparency behind the support process, meaning less reliance on intermediate companies and more of the support directly reaching those involved in the creation and popularization of content. As for the reasons behind the new policy proposal, METI cites merger results in its previous efforts to expand the overseas market size for domestic-produced content. While some of the measures did show results, METI suggests that they were still at a low level compared to other countries like South Korea. The ministry commented they weren't able to expand the stock of tangible/intangible assets and raise labor productivity and wages to a satisfactory level, and are hoping that the new policy helps Japanese-produced content conquer the world. So, more or less from what my understanding is that they are in direct competition right now with, like, South Korea and even China when it comes to, like, the animation department and entertainment and stuff that's coming overseas.
For sure.
And obviously...
America is not a competitor, let me tell you. Western situation is not up there.
They want to make it to where it's more lucrative for people in Japan to work with Japan instead of work with these other countries and make more business with Japan. That's at least my understanding. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this and I'm stupid. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But regardless, overall, Japan is taking a massive step in trying to protect its actual creators, the people that drive its industry. I mean, once again, I want to point out that the entertainment industry in Japan is so massive. It's like one of its big leading moneymakers for its entire country.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that there is laws on the ground floor to try to protect their industry. It's common sense. It makes complete sense. It's nothing that seems like, ludicrous or
assets.
Fantasy. It makes sense. And the fact that you have politicians that recently got elected that I've even talked about on this channel about the situation, obviously, yeah, it makes sense why, them being elected, they would fight for something like this. It's just, yeah, I'm very happy, man. I'm glad I could share this good news, dude.
Well, why would you not make laws to protect something that is one of your biggest exports or, money makers? These people are so brain dead, the ones that are like, oh, no, this is completely bad. I can understand criticizing it and saying, oh, the government shouldn't have its hand in things like art specifically, but at the end of the day, it's still a massive, massive boon to the country. You can't argue with that.
Makes me so happy to see an article like this. Now, I do want to make sure I state this, though. From my understanding, this law is not passed. It's a policy that has been proposed. I'm assuming it's on the ground floor. I'm assuming it needs to be voted on to some degree. I don't know exactly how the whole policy structure in Japan works. I'm not going to act like I do.
No,
I'm an
I don't
American.
either.
I'm not going to act like I understand all the politics of Japan. That is ignorant of me to do. However, I'm assuming that, judging by the wording and stuff, it is a policy that's been introduced thanks to the new change in hands in the government.
Better government than some credit card shadow government? That's true, and the fact that America hasn't done anything about it and they just let it happen and Japan had to respond in their own way, I don't know. It sucks. It really does. The fact that they can coerce and blackmail, so to speak, grab Steam by the balls. They grabbed Gaben by the balls and said, you have to do something about your platform because they hold so much power over Steam. Everybody uses Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal, right? It's like a drug cartel. They bar certain countries from being able to use currency to buy games on the Steam store, for example. It's horrible. They do the same shit with manga and anime.
With the new elections and stuff like that. And now it's going to be getting voted on. And I'm assuming with just how much support has been behind protecting creators and how vocal a lot of these politicians have been in Japan as of late, I'm going to assume it's going to pass. That's my educated guess. I mean, you have one of the biggest people that are leading Japan's economy right now that is a straight up weeb. I believe there is literally one of Japan's ministers. She is a weeb. She loves 2D over 3D. I'm like.
I apologize for rambling on. I just couldn't stay silent. I wish I had more allies within the party from here on. This is entirely my personal opinion, but to begin with, those who genuinely love 2D don't even think about touching 3D. I have absolutely no 3D interest in 3D, and it's completely out of the question for me. Perhaps that is the kind of feeling, something only those who share it can understand it. Do you think she watches VTubers? That's insane. I get it! Finally! What anime is she watching? Drop the list. Yeah, what's on her anime list, I wonder? Show
a picture on screen to prove it, but basically...
That's hilarious, dude.
It's very obvious these new politicians.
And this is honestly kind of encouraging, and I do hope, not that I really enjoy politics at all, I really, really hate politics, but as Shu once said, you might not be interested in politics, but politics is very interested in you, and the fact that someone is proposing new policy guidelines in Japan's parliament, and they actually know what they're talking about, I think it's a good thing. I do. On the surface, this sounds amazing. No more localization, censorship, no more fixing characters' designs, no more changes made to just please Western sensibilities, but there might be a problem if the West refuses to import Japanese works that don't fit the cultural guidelines. Wouldn't that pressure Japanese creators to censor themselves at the source? No, because people will find a way. I think people underestimate how much people really enjoy manga and anime and, like, overall just the culture that Japan brings into America. I think the backlash would be strong enough that people would find a way to pay for things and support their creators in order to keep the industry going. I do think so. I know that I'm usually really pessimistic, and I would say, yeah, this might force them to do this, but I believe with how diehard weebs are outside of America and, like, the whole world, I think there will be a way. If anything, I think this would actually create a backlash within the public sphere. Because what you're doing is essentially taking away entertainment and breads and circuses from people, the average Joe, who works every day at his government job. He works at a post office, maybe he delivers mail. You're taking away that one joy of life that he has. He might actually get up and do something about it. And I mean this in the non-violent threatening way. I mean this in, like, calling a mayor or calling a politician of his state and making them aware. I don't know. That's my perspective. I could be completely wrong. He might go postal. No. I'm saying this in a non-violent, peaceful, the kind way. He might get up and, like, go vote or go yell at someone on the phone.
They're in control of Japan right now. They love anime. They love manga. They want to protect it.
But you'd also, on the other hand, I do think America loves money more than anything. If they have a chance to get their dirty, nasty, little grubby hands into the big honeypot that is anime and manga, I will say I do think that desire for money overrides the willingness to censor. I do think. Again, I could be completely wrong. I'm not a, what is it called, an oracle. I'm not a prophet. I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's my perspective.
That's good news. That's good enough for me. I'll leave it at that, though. Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy, leave a comment to help with the algorithm. Chibi out.
Thanks, Chibi. That was awesome. Yippee! Yahoo! Remember, chat, they will take away things you love and you must fight back. We must fight back against this. Again, I do think that America and the West in general just loves money too much to, like, push that far, but you never know. You never know.